So you just bought yourself a bunch of brand new shiny Lightspeed bundles, and there are 27 Zetas in the Lightspeed bundles alone that can be applied to the characters. That's not even to mention once you get gas unlocked in the 501st, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more Zetas on the 501st team. There are other Zetas on Padme needs 2 Zetas. Where do you apply all of your Zetas into here? Where do you not apply all the Zetas on the Lightspeed bundles? Because you've only got a few Zeta mats sitting there, maybe some more from recent double drops in Cantina, but it didn't add that much. You still got to make a lot of hard choices for your Zetas. So which Zetas can you skip from your recent Lightspeed bundles, and which ones do you automatically have to have? That's what we're looking at today. Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars Dad, Nooch Too Good, and you just purchased some or all of the most recent Lightspeed bundles, and you are lacking in Zetas. Yeah, you got some extra Zetas here from the recent Cantina feed. If you had a 7-star Marin, if you didn't have a 7-star Marin, then you're on your way to a 7-star Marin, and you're not getting any Zetas there. But perhaps you got more Zetas. Perhaps you don't have enough Zetas. Any way you look at it, Zetas are scarce these days, and Omegas are equally scarce. So even if you got the Zetas, you may not have the Omegas. And that previous paragraph will make no sense to anyone who does not play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Think about it. So let's take a look at these Lightspeed bundles and talk about which Zetas you can just skip. Where are the Zetas you can just avoid? You can just say, forget it. I don't need this for anything. It's not important. And we got our Nightsisters on the screen. So let's talk about our Nightsisters. What Zetas on this team? Well, what do you need and what do you not need? Let's start with what you don't need first. I'm going to start right here on Asajj. Asajj has this leadership Zeta, which gives more turn meter reduction chance, more turn meter reduction. Nightsisters gain 50%. This is an old leadership Zeta for the Nightsisters. This is really old. There was a time in the game I remember using a Asajj lead team, and it feels like Enfys Nest was on it. I don't know. It's been a long time in Territory Wars for a while, but this has just gone the way of the dodo bird. Do not apply this leadership Zeta. I've actually seen it applied here by at least one person recently on a roster review. Don't apply that leadership Zeta. Her Rampage Zeta and the Omicron, they are helpful. Especially the Omicron is helpful in Grand Arena. You know, giving everybody 30% max health. Mandaka becomes super tanky then. Potency and tenacity. Whenever an enemy is defeated, they all gain 10% turn meter, recover 25% protection. It makes them a little better in Grand Arena. But if you're just looking at base stats and doing secrets and shadows, you know, this stacking offense or stacking critical chance, it's just really not all that exciting. She's gonna have a 25% chance to gain turn meter and gains 10% offense and critical chance till the end of the encounter. This increases her offense and critical chance, and her and it's just, you don't need this. You don't need any Zetas on Asajj, okay? Now, you do need Omegas, and that's the problem here is I have less Omegas than I have Zetas right now. I need an Omega drop. So, yeah, so you don't need any of the Zetas on Asajj. Old Daka, this is one that's just required. You got to have this. Whenever another ally is revived while Old Daka is active, she gains 10% max health stacking until the end of the encounter. Now, if you're wondering first, the encounter is, like if you're going through Secrets and Shadows, it's every single level. Every single level is an encounter. When an ability says through the battle, that's going to start at the beginning and it's going to go all the way to the end. So if you stack throughout the battle, she would be keeping all that health all the way through. This starts every time a new tier starts in Secrets and Shadows or a new battle starts. Each tier is a new encounter. So she starts over at the beginning each time. But there certainly is a lot of reviving going on in this team. And so there's a lot of max health stacking on Old Daka. And you're gonna mod her up for health. This is a necessary Zeta specifically for the Secrets and Shadows assault battles and just for the Nightsister team in general. You're gonna need that one. Mother Talzin's lead Zeta and Plague Bearer, you're gonna need both of these. Her leadership Zeta, whenever a Nightsister ally uses a basic ability, a random defeated Nightsister ally, there's more allies coming back, is revived with 50% health and called to assist. And I believe this does apply to Old Daka's reviving. Is that right? Let me look at Old Daka here. Whenever another ally is revived while she's active, yeah, so you're reviving them. So this is stacking up Old Daka's health as well. Where'd it go? And they call to assist. If you defeat an enemy on that turn, then they stick around. If you didn't defeat an enemy, they go away. And then you can't use it your next turn, right? It's, yeah, again, the end of the next turn. So it's every other turn. Plague Bearer, whenever any unit falls below half health, Towson gains 35% turn meter. That really matters because when you're applying Plague out there, it's only attacking health. You're going to have a lot of enemies getting down to half health. She's going to gain turn meter that way. She's going to gain turn meter on her team when they're defeated or get to half health. It's going to be a lot of turn meter gain for Mother Towson. Need to get that Zeta as well. And then when we look at Marin, she's not in the bundle. I get it, but you're going to need both of these Zetas on her. She gains magic stealth. Next time another ally is inflicted with a debuff or defeated, she loses magic stealth, dispels all debuffs on all allies, and revives a random Nightsister ally with 50% health. More reviving going on. Excuse me. And Vengeful Bond. Whenever an ally is inflicted with a debuff, if she has 0% turn meter, you dispel all debuffs and she gains 25% turn meter. Whenever a Nightsister ally is revived, there's a 20% chance to inflict all enemies with 1 stack of Plague. That's a pretty nice little deal there, inflicting everybody with Plague. Pretty nice deal. So you're going to need both those Zetas as well, most likely in the Secrets and Shadows, and to make that team really work at its ultimate. So really the only Zetas you're going to avoid or you don't need on this team is going to go to Asajj Ventress with both of her Zetas. Let's take a look at the Geos here. There's only 2 Zetas on this team. There's a nice little Omicron we'll talk about. Geo Brute Alpha. I've got both Zetas on here, and that's fine. The one you really need is the Queen's Will one. At the start of the encounter, summon a Geo Brute who taunts for 1 turn. You need that Brute out there. It's a pre-summon, auto-taunting tank. It keeps the attention off the other Geos. Important Zeta. This leader Zeta is really not that important. Basic abilities of Geonosian allies deal 10% more damage for each buffed enemy. Well, the thing is, there's a lot of dispelling going on here. The Glaive Sweep. Let's see here. Dispel all buffs on all enemies. You're already dispelling all buffs, and there's other abilities. I think Poggle. Does Poggle dispel buffs? Sunfact dispels buffs on a basic. Poggle actually dispels all debuffs on all allies, but there's more. I can't remember. There's more dispelling out there on this team. Geospy deletes buffs when he uses a special. So there's a lot of buffs being erased by this team. So there's not going to be a lot of buffs on your opponent's team. It's a nice to have. It's not hurting anything. But for each debuffed enemy, it's a max of 50% extra damage. It's nice. It's a nice to have. It's not super necessary on the Geo team. I don't have it on my other account, and my Geos are getting holes without it. So you can skip the leader Zeta, but you're going to need that Queen's Will Zeta. And by the way, if you want your guild to do really well, this is a great Omicron for Territory Wars. Just makes it. I'm not going to read it, but that's just a great Omicron to throw on that Geo team. Let's take a look at the Padme bundle next. We got our Separatists in here, and we can talk about these characters. Now, the first 2 I want to talk about, obviously we've already covered Asajj. We got the droids, but Newt, Gunray, and Count Dooku. These are characters that, where's the Zeta here? Viceroy's Reach. Whenever a Separatist ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% max health damage to the enemy, which can't be evaded. That's pretty darn good, and it's a unique. And so he can just be on a team. Like, throw him on a Grievous team with that Zeta. I think that's his only Zeta, right? I'm not missing. Yeah, that's his only Zeta. You throw him, like, on a Grievous team with that Zeta, and there's a lot of debuffs being thrown around by B2, B1. Grievous is throwing out there's a lot of target lock. There's ability block. Not ability block. There's a buff blocker. That can be really, really good. The thing is that Newt, he's a really good character. You got to pick your spots for him. He can do a lot of really fun things. He can bring out a surprising defense as a leader. There's no specific game modes you need this Zeta for. It's a really nice Zeta. It is a nice to have. I'm going to say you don't need it. You're probably not going to be using Newt in a lot of teams, and especially with Zetas being at a premium right now, Viceroy's Reach, while being really, really cool and working really, really well on a Separatist droid team with Grievous as a lead, you're not going to find a lot of use for that Zeta probably, unless you really want to put Grievous in that team and pull like Destroyer Droid out of it. So I'm just going to say right now you could probably pass in that Zeta, but I think we're going to be getting a lot more Separatist characters soon. You'll probably find a lot more use for Newt Gunray. If you got Trench and Stap, you probably definitely have a full team for Gunray at that point, but a lot of us don't early in the game. Count Dooku. So Count Dooku, he's got a Zeta on Flawless Riposte. 15% damage extra, recover 15% protection, and gain critical hit immunity for 1 turn when attacking on a turn. That's his only Zeta, right? Yes, that's his only Zeta. That Zeta, specifically when you look at the Geonosis territory battles, when there's that one node where you got to use Dooku and Asajj, this Zeta just puts him over the top in that. So it's good for that territory battles. Again, it's the same thing with Dooku. He's got a lot of spots where he's a very useful character, but when you're looking at these Lightspeed bundles, the Geos are going to go out there, 1 Zeta, boom, you got a really usable team for Grand Arena if you're early to mid-game. Just a great team to throw out there in Grand Arena. Your Nightsisters, it's 3 Zetas without Marin, 2 more Zetas with her, and you got a great usable team out there for a few game modes. Dooku, again, it's the lack of Separatist characters right now, especially in the early and mid-game that are costing. This is a great Zeta, just like Nute Gunray's unique is a great Zeta. It's just finding places to use it, and you're not going to need it for any journeys or anything else, because we're going to take up a lot of Zetas with the gas journey here. And so I'm going to put this as a very nice to have if you've got a spot for Dooku and you're already used your other Zetas, but I'm going to say the rest of it at this point, it's not a super necessary Zeta. And Jango Fett is on here too. Jango Fett, his Zeta is here on Notorious Reputation. When he defeats somebody on his turn, they cannot be revived. Again, a very, very nice to have. This leadership ability, you're not going to, this is an old school leadership ability. This is a very nice to have, but again, we're left with not a lot of spots to use Jango. Now you're thinking, well, what if I put Nute, Dooku, and Jango out there? You could do that. Or Trench, Nute, Dooku, Jango. You got Trench. You put Stapp into your Geo, into your Grievous team. You pull Droideka out maybe. You put him with Trench. So if you've got Trench, then you've got a full team. It can go in Grand Arena. Then you need more Zetas and more Omicrons for Trench as well. So I get it. When you get to the late game, to the end game, these are Zetas you're going to want to have in these characters. But we're talking to people that just bought the bundles and are now looking to do the gas journey or looking to do Secrets and Shadows. When you look at doing those, and you're not really going to need. Now, if you're going to do the Padme journey with Jango Fett as your only character, you may want to have that Zeta on there. I still think you'll get by without it, though. I still think you'll be okay without it. Maybe on that Padme journey, not allowing them to be revived is kind of a big deal, actually, as you get to the end. So that might be a necessary Zeta. We're going to be testing that out in the coming months with my Nooch Vader account, so pay attention. Leader Zeta, this is old school. Enemies have minus 20% potency for each debuff on all bounty hunter allies. It's just an old Zeta. You're not going to need that. You don't need that one. You're not going to use Jango Fett in a lead for bounty hunters very often at all, if at all. He's going to really go in a Separatist team at this point. So anyway, for you guys who just bought the bundles and you're working on it, Dooku, Nute Gunray, Jango Fett, there's some nice Zetas in there. You can probably skip them for now as you look at the journeys that are coming up. Now, let's go to the gas bundle. Where do we got here? Gas bundle. Thank you very much. We've already looked at, we haven't looked at the droids yet. We've already looked at Asajj. Everybody else is in here. Let's start with these Separatist droids since we're on the Separatist page. The Zeta that I'm hearing, a lot of people are saying that they got by with 1 Zeta in the gas event. It's the B1. Extra 50 stacks of droid battalion. Basically, you're doubling his life expectancy. He starts with 50 stacks. This builds it to 100 stacks at the start of the battle. This is a necessary Zeta for the gas journey, and a lot of people are telling me that they got to that final tier, and that's the only Zeta they had, and they were able to get through it with decent mods on that team. So the B1 battle droid is the #1 required Zeta from that gas bundle that you're going to have for the final tier of the gas journey. B2 battle droid, I'm calling it required. You really, whenever B2 inflicts a debuff, all Separatist droid allies gain 5% turn meter. He inflicts a lot of debuffs, boys and girls. On Relentless Barrage, that's not it. On Mowdown, sorry. He deals physical damage. He dispels all positive stats effects with an 80% chance to also inflict buff immunity. It's going to be, that's the max. So that's going to be 4 or 5 debuffs he inflicts out there, and everybody's going to gain 20 to 25% turn meter on the team. So there's a lot of turn meter to be gained from that, but it's not just him. No, it is whenever B2 inflicts it. So you can inflict critical damage down here on a basic, Relentless Barrage. No, there's no there. So you have a lot of chance to be and he resets his cooldowns a lot. So B2 is going to be putting a lot of debuffs out there, generating a lot of turn meter gain. And when you get around to the Grievous being the leader, it's that B2 is going to be super required for that Grievous leader team once you get there. But for the gas journey, people are saying they're getting by without it. It still would come highly recommended for me. You don't need. I saw a roster of this the other day. Nobody needs this. Nobody need this Zeta. If no buffs are dispelled, reset the cooldown of this build. Nobody cares about resetting the cooldown of Stunning Strike, and the only thing anybody cares about on IG is this right here. Everybody getting taunt and stealth, and him taking a bonus turn. It's just no. Don't do this Zeta. Don't apply it. You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. Droidekas is a very, 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 very nice to have. It's going to have him assisting. If Droideka has damage immunity, it has a 35% chance to assist, dealing 50% less damage whenever another Separatist ally uses an ability. Very, 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 very nice to have for the gas event. It's going to be a requirement for your Grievous team if you got it full of droids and you've got Droideka on there. Very nice Zeta. You're going to assist a third of the time, doing a little bit less damage, but he still does a lot of damage. And while in Territory Wars, and if all allies are Separatist droids, it's a nice Territory War Omicron to get for your guild. Take a look at that Territory War Omicron. And that takes care of our Separatist droids. Now let's pop back over to the gas bundle here and look at the Galactic Republic side of that gas bundle and talk about the Zetas that you've got in there, the ones you're going to have, the ones you don't need. Plo Koon and Clone Sergeant, no Zetas on those characters, so don't worry about those. And Clone Sergeant, actually, Plo Koon and Clone Sergeant, really only there for the ships at this point of the game. There are places to put Clone Sergeant in like a 3v3 Captain Rex team, I believe, kind of. And Plo Koon doesn't really fit in many places, although on a Gidme team, you might be a solid fill in there. But as far as the other ones, we look at General Kenobi. Sorasu is a tremendous Zeta. If all allies are Galactic Republic, General Kenobi taunts for 1 turn whenever another Galactic Republic ally loses any protection up. When you're on the Padme team, everybody's getting protection up the whole time. When you're on a Jedi Master Kenobi team, everybody's got protection up the whole time. He's going to be taunting. He's going to be beefy. Beefy taunting equals one thing: lots of frustration for your opponent. We look at Ahsoka here. I have not applied this Zeta. It is a really important Zeta. Not only for early in the game when you're on the Padme team, not only for the gas event. If the allied leader is Galactic Republic, Ahsoka is called to assist whenever another Galactic Republic ally uses a special ability. She's assisting all the time, and on her basic, she dispels all buffs on the target. So this is used to get rid of taunts in the gas event on the Galactic Republic level. As you move forward on the Jedi Master Kenobi team down the road, this ability is used just to feed his ultimate and also clear buffs. But this Zeta on Ahsoka is another tremendous Zeta. Probably second to Sorasu, but it's a close second, and it's really tough to measure there. Jedi Anakin's Zeta has kind of gone out of favor over time. If Padme is an ally, she takes a bonus turn after each of Anakin's bonus turns. Anakin gets bonus turns every time another ally falls below 50% health or is defeated. It's a lot of bonus turns Anakin's getting there if people are getting injured or dying around him. So, it's nice, but the Padme lead has kind of faded over time, and Anakin has really dropped off of that team and moved over to the Qui-Gon Omicron team, which a lot of you will have, even in the early to mid-game. A lot of Qui-Gon Omicrons out there, so that Zeta has faded over time. However, if you're going to have Anakin's Eta 2 Starfighter, which you get in the bundle, that extra galactic power never hurt anybody, and it's a good chunk of extra galactic power. And it's a good solid upgrade for the Eta 2 Starfighter. So something to keep in mind there with Jedi Knight Anakin. Who else we got left in that bundle? That's the first three. We got 5s and Shaak Ti. Let's take a look at Shaak Ti first, because 5s will lead into a whole nother discussion of what you get after you unlock gas. There's Shaak Ti. I don't have her upgraded. Her Zetas are her leader. Clone Trooper allies recover 5% health and protection when they attack out of turn. And her unique, whenever Shaak Ti or a Clone Trooper ally takes damage from an attack, they gain retribution for 2 turns at the end of that turn. When Shaak Ti is leading clones, these are very, very nice to have. Actually necessary to have. You're only going to have Shaak Ti leading clones in the mid-game for the most part. When you've unlocked Shaak Ti, when you got the 501st there, and if you don't happen to have gas on your roster, So, or if you have Jedi Master Kenobi, then maybe Gas goes on the Jedi Master Kenobi team, and then Shaak Ti is leading clones. Until and if and when Shaak Ti gets a ship, which I don't know, it could be coming soon. We don't know. I just don't. I think these Zetas on Shaak Ti have faded over time. You just don't get a lot of Shaak Ti leading clones, and there are other better places to put these Zetas. There are other better places to put those Zetas for Shaak Ti. So I would just skip those for now if you bought these bundles. Unless you just have a clone-heavy team and you got other places to put gas. Just, it just doesn't really work. And when we look at Fives, now, when Fives is out there, you're going to need his Zetas when you unlock gas for the 501st Squad, or before that, if you got a nice little Rex lead clone team. This one, Tactical Awareness, we just call it the Revivability. This is required. This is the number one Zeta for that 501st team. If Fives is defeated this way, 501st Clone Trooper allies gain his max health, max protection, speed, and offense stats in addition to their own until the end of the battle. So this is when he's defeated this way means when another 501st Clone Trooper ally would be defeated while Fives is active, they recover 100% health and they gain his protection, speed, and offense stats and health until the end of the battle. So he's just passing on all of his protection, 59,000 health. Mine isn't even modded well and not even a relic. So all this is passed on to the rest of the team. The speed, it's crazy. You've got to have that if you have the 501st active in any way. This is the first Zeta you do on the team. And this is for post getting gas, by the way. We're into you've already got gas unlocked. You got the 501st. What are the Zetas you need? This isn't even in the we're in the bundle because Five's in the bundle. But our Zetas are where's my hand going? Our Zetas are after bundle at this point. Domino Squad is fine. Fives gains 15% turn meter whenever another clone trooper or 501st ally takes damage. I mean, okay, there's not a lot that he does in his turn. We don't really want him taunting when he's playing with gas. So, or playing with fire for that matter. You don't want him taunting when playing with gas or fire or gas-fueled fire. I'm sorry. Gaining turn meter, it's fine. I don't know that it really aids a lot. You could probably hold off on that one once you get the 501st active. Rex's Zeta with the 501st is capped on the 501st, is unique. Other 501st Clone Trooper allies reduce their ability cooldowns by 1 at the start of each of their turns. Yes, please. Yes, please. I would like to get all my abilities going there. Thank you so much. We look at Arc Trooper. His Zeta is going to be here on Arc Arsenal. The blaster turret will assist whenever when Arc Trooper attacks out of turn. Arc Trooper has a 35% counter chance to attack out of turn. There are also I think there are assists built. Where's the assist built in that team? It's with Fives. Maybe that's it, but that's a 1 in 3 chance of assisting Arc Trooper whenever he attacks out of turn. But doesn't Arc Trooper get command? Clone ally, give command to target other clone ally. I guess not. I guess he doesn't get command. I felt like he got command. Oh, I'm sorry. Arc Trooper always has command while the blaster turret is present and summons a blaster. Okay, yeah, so he's always going to assist. With command, the blaster turret assists where this character uses an ability outside their turn. So anytime he uses an ability or anything, there's just going to be a lot of assisting, and that is going to be a really necessary Zeta for the team. We go over to Echo. I think this is an extra, and nice to have. When the enemy evades an attack from a clone trooper or 501st ally, Echo deals damage to them equal to 20% of their max health, which can't be evaded. Hey, if you're playing a team that's got a lot of evasion on it, like I don't know, get Jedi Knight Revan, Qui-Gon Omicron, anything with Hermit Yoda on it, you know, they're going to evade a lot, like Jedi Training Array, I don't know, then they're just going to smoke them. But I've never really applied this Zeta, and I haven't really struggled with the gas team either. So just kind of a unique situation there. And we talked about Fives. That would be probably the last one I would apply. That one and Echoes, to be honest. It just doesn't really fit in there necessarily. And I think we've covered... Oh, well, let's talk about Padme. So with the Padme lead, which it eventually goes toward a Gidme type of team, her leader ability, both these Zetas are so important. While they have protection up, light side allies resist all debuffs and can't be critically hit. They're getting protection up all the time under a Padme lead. And here, this one's actually more important. This protection up can't be dispelled, prevented, or dispelled, and is increased to 40% if Padme is their leader. You want as much protection up on your Galactic Republic allies as possible, so increasing from 10% up to 40% Then they dispel it and they gain courage. And when damaging the target, for each 5 stacks of courage, dispel 5 stacks and deal bonus damage equal to 40% of the target's max health. For each 5% of protection up, they get courage. So you want that 40% protection up to be out there, give a lot of courage, and do a lot of damage, especially when you get later in the game to a Gidme team with Moff Gideon on this Padme team. And there you go. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to throw this somewhere in the video. I completely forgot about Ewoks. So let's take a look at our Ewoks and who from this bundle is going to require Zeta. My goodness, I just completely spaced on the Ewoks. There's really only one Ewok Zeta that's in the... Well, no, that's not right. They all have Zetas. The only one you're going to really need, or possibly need, I think this is going to be interesting going forward to see the impact that Nyssa has on the C-3PO event, because that's the main place we use Ewoks in the game. Some cleanup, you know, later on. If you're a gerbil, you put them out there doing everything. But, so Chirpa's Leadership Zeta is actually a big one. Whenever an Ewok ally uses a special ability, 60% chance to call another random Ewok ally to assist. It's just a lot more assists on the game, on the team, and it brings everybody into assist when using special abilities. That's really the only one you need for the C-3PO event. Now, if we look at whenever Wicket scores a critical hit, this is his Zeta. All Ewok allies recover 4% health and 2% protection. They're already gaining turn meter whenever he scores a critical hit. So, you know, it's this on his AoE, I mean, but this is a nice to have. Whenever he scores a critical hit, you know, if you do an AoE and they're all crits, they're all going to recover a lot of health and protection, but whoa, wrong button. But, you know, unless you're really going to be dialed in on using an Ewok team for a lot of different purposes, you're not going to apply that. The same goes for Shaman's Insight on Logray. While Logray is active, whenever an Ewok ally scores a critical hit, that ally gains health up for 2 turns. Then all Ewok allies with health up recover 10% health. It's nice. I'm not saying it's bad. It helps. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just not necessary. Whenever Paploo gains a status effect, he recovers 5% protection. Again, nice to have. Nothing super duper special there. Now, we've got some nice, we got an Omicron, a Territory War Omicron with Princess Nyssa here, which is another nice to have. I don't know a lot about that, honestly. Remove 100% turn meter from target enemy. If you're going to go all in Nyssa, you're going to want to do this on Yub Nub for sure. And that's the only Zeta on Princess Nyssa there. And this isn't a Zeta, right? I didn't apply a Zeta. No, that's not a Zeta. So, in Territory Wars, it looks like she has more critical chance, more critical damage, more max health, 10 speed. This is, if you're going to use Ewoks in Territory Wars, that looks like kind of a banger, actually, if you really get them upgraded. But a lot of other Omicrons you can apply in the meantime. So really on this team, the Ewok team, the only one you're going to need to get through that 3PO event is going to be the Chirpa lead. And now we return you to our regularly scheduled programming where I forgot all about the Ewoks. So there are all the Zetas you don't need and do need. We say you don't need, but do need. For the gas event, for these characters, for all of the Lightspeed bundles that you purchased recently. Hopefully this assists you in the game and helps you move forward. I will talk to all of you soon. And of course, as you go throughout your day and you go throughout your night and you think about your life, you should love your family. And the other thing you should always do is realize, Nooch too good.